video, we are going to discuss the problem elements in the range. So we are given with an array ARR which contains positive elements. We are given with two values A and B which defines a range. Our task is to find that if that array contains all the elements in the range or not. So this problem seems to be very easy. You can just use the make you can just make use of hashing, or you can just use hashing or set to find, or you can just sort this array to find that there are elements present in that range or not. There are multiple ways to find that thing. Okay, the thing is that we can just simply use the make use of hashing. Okay, and in that hashing we can just check that we will just first iterate through the array and then just store the numbers who are present in the array, and then for that range from A to B we can just check that is that number present in that array or not. But hashing will take O of n space complex and O of n time complex. So obviously we have to at least iterate through the array once. So O of n cannot be reduced, means time complexity cannot be reduced, but space complexity can be reduced. That is what we have. Here you can see in this case, this is the array and the range is from 2 to 5. So you can see that from in this range 2, 3, 4, 5, all the 4 numbers are present in this array. That is why the answer is yes. In this case you can see which is from 0 to 6, 6 is not present in this array. So all the elements of that given range are not present. That is why the answer is no. So how can we do this? Means yeah, we can perform it by space complexity of O of n, but can we do it by constant space complexity by using this array only? Yeah, we can do it. Let's see how we can do it. So what we will do this? How we will do that? Let's take the first example only. Okay, the first example which is given to us in the test case, which is this one. Let's copy this example. Okay, and we will discuss this example to understand how we can solve this problem with O of 1 or constant space complexity. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, this is the test case which is given to us. Now let's see that how we can solve it. So you can see that in this array, let's write the array here. What we will do, that we will just iterate once through this given, okay, and then we will focus on that elements who are in this range. Okay, and for each element we will specify our index. Now this is quite confusing how we can specify index. Let's understand. For example, we are writing here 2, 3, 4, 5, which is our range. So if I will just ask you that what is the index of 4, so you can say the index of 4 is 2, because index of 2 is 0, index of 3 is 1, index of 4 is 2. In this range basically. So we can easily find the index of a particular number in the range given to us. For example, if the range is from 1 to 6, the number will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that case, index of 5 will be 4. Like this. Okay, this will be the thing. So in this case, means if numbers are from 0 to 5, so the index of 4 is 2. Okay, fine. This is what we can easily do. And how we can do this? We can easily do it by taking a number and subtracting that number by the first element of the range, which is 2. You can see that if you are subtracting a number with the first element of the range, then you are getting its index. Like 4 minus 2 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, 2 minus 2 is 0. Fine. Now what we will do, for each number who are in this range 2, we will find its index. For example, this 1 is not in the range, because in this given case range is from 0 to 5. So 1 is not in the range. That is okay. Fine. 1 is not in the range. Ignore it. You can see 4 is in the range. So what we will do, we will find the index of 4. Okay. So because 4 is in the range, we will find the index of 4. And what is the index of 4? Fine. Great. This is what we will do. Okay. And because you can see that this 4 is present, okay, in that range, and its index is 2. Fine. Its index is 2. So now what we will do is we will make the second element of this particular array equal to -1, 2. So we will make it a negative value. So what I am doing, I am making this element which is present in this at the second position negative. So now this 5 will become -5. And what does this -5 representing? Because this array will contain positive integers. This array will contain positive integers only. And if we are making our integer negative, that means that particular index of the range is present. Okay. Similarly, when we will iterate to the next part, because we know that there should be always positive integers. So if our number is negative, we will consider positive one only. So now we will check for 5. 5 is also present in the range. Yes, yeah, 5 is present. Now again, what we will do? We will check out the index of 5. And you can see the index of 5 is 3. So now the third element, the element with index 3 of this array will again transform to negative. Means multiplied by -1. Now the element is 7. 7 is not present in the, so we will just ignore it. Now 8. 8 is also not in the range. We will ignore it. Okay. Sorry, we have not checked for 2. Yeah, 2 is also in the range. Okay, we have just missed 2. So because 2 is in the range and index of 2 is 0, so we will also transform the index of this array which is 0, which is 1. We will make this 1 to -1. And similarly for 3, 3 is also in the range. So we will, and the index of 3 is 1, because we can simply subtract 3 by 2, which is the first index, first element of the range, and we can find its index. Because index of 3 is 1, so we can just make the element at 1 to its negative. Now what we will do? Now we know that we have 4 elements in our range. You can see a minus b plus 1 is b minus a plus 1 is 4. So because we have 4 elements in our array, in our range basically. So what we will do? We will check for first 4 elements of our array. And if first 4 elements of our array are negative, that means all the elements of the range are present. And in this way, we are not using extra space, and we are just solving this problem by traversing through the array, which is just O of. Similarly, let's say that in this case, in this array, let's say that 2 was not present. Let's assume this 2 was not. So in this case, what happened was that the index of 2 was 0. So this 1 will remain 1. It will not become -1. And in that case, when we will just check for the first n elements or the first 4 elements of the array, then in that case, you will get that it is not negative. This 1 is not negative. Means the element at index 0, which is 2, is present in this given array. This is how we are just finding. We are just finding, or we are basically checking that if all the elements of a range are present in the array or not, without using any extra. Now let's move towards the code part, and let's try to implement the logic which we have discussed. Okay. So first of all, what we will do, we will just iterate through this array. Okay. We are just iterating through this array. And also we first also find the range. The range will basically, let's say, b minus a. This is the range length. Range length. Now we have to check that if that number is present in the range or not. If the given number is present in the range or not. So for that, we will apply a condition that the number should be greater than or equal to a, and the number should be less than or equal to b. I am also using ABS here because we are changing a positive number to a negative number. Okay, that is what we will do now. We will just see it in the next step. So if that number is in the range, which is from a to b, then what we will find? We will find the index of that number in the range. So for finding index, what I have told that we can just subtract that number. We can just subtract that number by the first number of the range, by the first element of the range, which is a in this case, because range is from a to b. This is basically the index of our number in the range. Now what we will do? We will make. So now first we will check that is that z, means is that index lies inside our array or not. So if this z is less than n, it should be in the loop now. And also the value of ARR z is positive, means it is not already negative. It is not negative already. It should be positive. So if this is the case, in that case we will make it negative. That yeah, we have got this particular number in our This is what we are doing using this loop. Okay. Then in the next loop, what we will do, we will just iterate. So we will take a count. In that count, we will store the number of elements which are negative in that range. Because obviously the negative number of elements should be equal to the number of elements in the range. Then only it is possible. Okay. So for that, we will just traverse again through the array, but this time till range only. Because we have to only focus on the indexes of the range. Obviously that element is only negative. And if the element at that range is positive, and there is also a handle, there is also corner case to handle, that maybe this range is greater than n. You have to also insert that I should be less than n, but it should not go out of bound. It should not go out of bound. Okay. So if ARRI is greater, means it is positive, means that particular number is not present. So we have to return. This was the case which I am saying. For example, when we have removed this 2 from this array, so this 1 was positive only. It has not become negative. So that in that case, we will return false. That 2 is missing or any other number is missing. Fine. Else we are returning. And if that number is less than 0, else then we will just increment the count. What this count is basically storing. This count is storing the number of negative elements in the array. And there will be that number of negative elements. The number of negative elements in that array will be equal to the numbers which are lying, the number of numbers present which are lying in the given range. So if this count is equal to the numbers in the range, which is range plus 1 basically, because if range is from A to B, so the numbers in that range will be B minus A plus 1. We can just notice that thing. For example, in this case, the range was from 2 to 5. So the number in that range was 5 minus 2 plus 1, which were 4. There were 4 numbers in the range, which is 2, 3, 4, 5. So the numbers in the range can be calculated by the formula B minus A plus 1. Okay. This is what we will do. And now what we can do, if it is equal, then we can simply return true. Else we will return, or we can just write return false. If it is not returned true, so let's return false at the end of the program. This is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. Okay. Now let's compile it. It is right. Let's submit. All test cases are passed. All test cases are passed. So now if we talk about the time complexity and space complexity of this problem, so as I already told you that we are not taking any extra space, so the space complexity for this problem will be O of 1 only, which is constant. And because we are just iterating through the array once, in this case also we are just iterating through the array, so it will not take more than O of n. So I hope you have got this video. If you have any problem regarding this question, so you can just comment it down and you can ask your doubt. Please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel